We should definitely have concern. We shouldn't be scared, we should definitely be concerned because fraud exists everywhere. And fraud is a situation where the bad guys have all the latest tools and they're going to be around for a long time. So it's really an arms race, and it's really about making sure that you're using, as a good guy, you're using the best tools possible. In general, there's two ways of trying to stop fraud or detect fraud. One is trying to catch individual bad guys or individual burglars. We call it side channel analysis. And it's looking at every single impression separately and trying to determine if that's fraudulent or not. The second way is big data analysis, and that's where you try to find gangs of thieves and try to stop gangs of thieves. Oftentimes, people will try to use one versus the other, but you really should use both methodologies, because the way to be most effective is if you try to catch each individual thief at the same time, you're stopping the gangs of thieves at the same time. So what should a marketer think if the marketer is scared about going into digital because of the fraud problem? I think first of all, a lot of times the fraud problem is over-dramatized. And the reason for that is because you've got a lot of people who make money trying to prevent it. So the reality is fraud is a concern, but it should not be a stumbling block for going into digital. There are definitely tools and technologies you can use to minimize the amount of fraud that you're going to end up buying. But you definitely have to use these technologies, because for companies who aren't at all using or leveraging fraud detection technology are definitely going to buy a lot of fraud. So what global differences am I seeing in viewability and ad fraud? So usually when we think of the world, we thought of the US and the UK. They're pretty similar in terms of awareness of the problem and the leveraging of technologies to manage the problem or manage the effectiveness of some of these metrics. What's interesting though is as I'm traveling around Europe and I've gone to some other markets, I just spent 2 days in Italy, everyone there is aware of the same issues. They're a little further behind in terms of getting deals done between publishers and advertisers around something like viewability, but they're talking about it, they recognize the importance of it, and I see quickly that a market like that is going to close the gap, and we're going to see trading on viewability within, call it by the end of the year, early next year. So it's really interesting to see how quickly that learning curve has shrunk, and how important concern around media quality is everywhere you go. In terms of viewability, what we're seeing is an assumption that a video on a mobile device is automatically in view. So first of all, that's not true at all. The same challenges with making sure ad is seen on a mobile device, the same as we have on a desktop we have on a mobile device. In terms of fraud, it's interesting because fraud ultimately follows dollars. So while traditionally more money has been spent on desktop-focused display and video advertising, that's where most of the fraud is. But as more and more dollars are being spent to reach consumers on mobile devices, fraud is following that as well. So the fraud rates are going up quickly in the in-app environments and in the mobile environments to follow where advertising dollars are going.
People have really achieved in the meantime, and how things are progressing. I see different challenges. I think one of the big challenges is